Good afternoon, everyone. Just starting off with just a little bit of worship. I've got an amazing story to share with you today, to uplift you, to inspire you. And I just want to welcome the Lord in this space right now. And I just want to pray and ask that He use me to touch someone's life today. Okay. Turn this down. That song is called The Refiner. And it is featuring Chandler Moore and Stephanie Gretzinski, or Gretzinsker. It's the Maverick City Music Tribe, called The Refiner. All right, guys. So I am Christine Moore. I am so excited to be here with you today. And you know what? The sun is finally out. So it's a great day. And I can hear all the ice melting. And hopefully by today, we will have running water again. And it's just been nuts. Like I've had to go out and get piles of snow and fill up the toilets to be able to flush the toilets. Just been nuts. So I hope wherever you are, I hope that you're staying warm. I hope that you're safe. And so I'm going to get right into my story. I'm not going to waste any time. I am live on YouTube as well as TikTok. And let me turn this all the way down. Okay. All right. So if you don't know me, my name's Christine Moore. I get on TikTok and social media for two reasons, but mainly the biggest reason is to share my story. I am a certified peer recovery coach, and I struggled with an addiction to prescription pills for over 15 years. And by the grace of God, I've now been clean and sober for 6 years. So now I give back to the recovery community. I help others who struggle with addiction. I help them get onto the path of recovery. I help them figure out which pathway of recovery that works best for them. I help them figure out what goals they want to achieve. I help give them resources, and just be a mentor, serve as a mentor, serve as their cheerleader, their biggest advocate, and help them along their journey. So I just want to share a story about when I was deep in my active addiction. Okay. I've shared this story before of when I was deeply addicted to drugs. I found out I was pregnant with my son, and I was terrified because the amount of drugs that I was taking. I was addicted to pain pills and sleeping pills. And I didn't want to be that mom, that was addicted to drugs. And I just remember, before I struggled with addiction, I remember thinking back and thinking, gosh, the moms who get pregnant and they can't stop taking drugs, like how selfish of them. And all they can think about is themselves. I mean, can't they think about their child and yada, 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 yada. And I didn't really understand the struggle until it was me. And I just remember when I found out I was pregnant, I tried so hard to taper off and to get off the pills that I was taking. And I couldn't do it. The withdrawals were so horrific. And I just remember I I just wanted to feel normal. I didn't want to be sick. And like, it was this constant struggle of like, I don't want to be on these drugs because I don't want to hurt my baby. But here I am. I'm so sick. I can't function. I can't take care of my older child. I can't be a wife to my husband. I can't work. I can't do anything. And I was stuck. And so I finally, at this point, came out, told everybody, because I'd been hiding my addiction for years. And I was so filled with shame and guilt. I was so depressed. I was even suicidal at this point. And I remember coming out and finally asking for help. And I remember they put me in a psychiatric hospital for a little while because of my depression. And they were going to try and help me detox off of the Ambien and the pain pills that I was taking in a safe way. And then also put me on medication that would help me and that would be considered safe to take during pregnancy. And let me just tell you, there's not a whole lot of options for pregnant women. As far as medications that are safe to take during pregnancy. So at this point, I just remember being in a psychiatric hospital. I'll never forget that day of I stayed in the corner room on the 5th floor. And I remember being in that room and looking outside the window and seeing all of downtown Austin. And it was a beautiful spring day and people were just out and about, walking around and doing life. And here I was just at my lowest of lowest points. And here I found myself in a psychiatric hospital, depressed, addicted to drugs, pregnant, filled with shame and guilt, and suicidal. And so I went through I was there for probably, I don't know, a week or two. And they were able to taper me down and put me on these other medications. And I remember getting out and I continued to struggle. And I remember I would be sober for a few weeks and then I would slip and I would relapse. And it was just a vicious cycle. And this is the story that I really want to get to, okay? So I remember at about, I think it was my 26-week appointment with my gynecologist. My doctor, my gynecologist, he's a man of faith and an amazing doctor. And I went in and he knew my situation. He knew my struggle. And so we did our, normal checkup. And then after the checkup was done and everything looked good, he took his hands and he laid his hands on my stomach. Okay. And I remember my sister-in-law was with me. And then there was also a nurse in there as well. And everybody laid their hands on me. And that doctor prayed over me, over my baby, that not one drug would touch his body and that he would be perfectly healthy. And I just remember just the feeling, the anointing that was in that room, and just the shame and the guilt was just falling off of me. And I was just sobbing and crying and just crying out to God to help me. And so even after that, you guys, I still continued to struggle. I would find, I found ways to get pills, and it was, through online pharmacies. It was through old doctors I'd seen. I had old prescriptions. It was finding stashes that I had hidden in my house. And I was a mess, a total and complete mess. And I am not proud of it one single bit. Not at all. Okay. I love my kids more than anything in this world. I would die for my kids. But when you are bound by addiction. It is crazy the stronghold that it has on you. And it made me do things I didn't think I would ever do. Okay. So you guys, about, I guess it was then when I got to my 36-week appointment, so I had 4 weeks left to go for my pregnancy. And I went and saw my doctor, and I was honest with him. I told him I was continuing to struggle. And I was, even at this point, I was considering going to detox center to detox again before I gave birth. And at that point, my son was, I guess at the 36-week point is where, they can induce and the baby can be born safely as long as the lungs are fully developed and everything looks good. And so my doctor decided to, instead of me going into detox again, he said, okay, we're going to induce you. And then we have the best doctors, the best hospital to be able to take care of your baby if there's any issues. Okay. So I remember going in to this hospital, and I had to disclose everything about my addiction. And I remember going in, it was the night before, I was going to get induced the next day. And just the shame, the guilt was awful, awful, awful. And I just was so afraid that something was going to be terribly wrong with my child. And so the next day they induced me and I went into labor, and it was a fairly quick labor because it was my second child. My first one was really long, but this one was fairly short. It was about maybe 5-6 hours of labor, and then it was time. And literally it was 3 pushes and my son was out. It was crazy fast how it happened. And so immediately they took my son and they went and did all the testing that they needed to do, and, get him all cleaned up and check his vitals and, do everything that they normally do with a brand new baby. And you guys, not one thing was wrong with my son. And I truly believe that was a miracle from God. Because how many times do you hear about babies being born and they suffer horrific withdrawals because the mother had been abusing heroin or opiates or methamphetamines or whatever, okay? You guys, not one problem with my son. Not one. He's perfect, and he's perfect to this day. My son didn't grow up with any disabilities or anything. And today he's thriving. He's 10 years old. He makes straight A's. He is in a select baseball team. He's been hitting home runs. He's been the way he pitches. He's had a couple of no hitters when he pitches. I mean, he's doing amazing. He's funny. He just makes us all laugh. And I give God all the glory. I really do. Now, here is where I want to get into. I want to speak to you directly. If you are struggling with addiction and you find out you're pregnant and you're scared, you don't know what to do, you're full of shame and guilt, my friend, you do not need to be scared that your child's going to be taken from you. If you ask for help, if you come forward and admit that you're struggling, that you have a problem, there are resources out there for you. to help you get the help that you need during your pregnancy. Okay? Now, if you don't disclose and you have your child and say a family member or a friend or somebody reports you, that's a whole nother issue. That's when your child can be taken from you. But if you're pregnant and you're addicted to drugs, you don't have to worry. You can ask for help. And there are so many resources out there to help you. So if you don't know what they are, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you and point you in the right direction, let you know that you're not alone. There's so many women out there struggling with addiction and finding out they're pregnant, and they are terrified. They're terrified of their kid being taken from them. They're terrified of people finding out. They're terrified of something being wrong with their child. But you guys, you can get help during your pregnancy and have a much better chance of nothing being wrong with your child. Okay? So I just wanted to share that with you. I wanted to share my story of God's miracle in my own personal life and let you know that you are not alone, that there is help out there. So please reach out. Please reach out. If you don't reach out to me, I want you to go to a website called SAMHSA. SAMHSA. SAMHSA is a website that has tons of resources, treatment centers, ways to find counselors, anything that you need to help you get through your addiction is on there. Okay. And I also want to let you know that you can start attending recovery meetings, and it's all online. You don't have to be on video. You don't have to talk. You can just show up and just get the support that you need from the people in these meetings. So the two that I want to tell you about, number one is called intherooms.org. intherooms.org, and they have so many different types of recovery meetings. You might say, oh, Christine, I don't like the traditional 12-step meetings. They didn't work for me. I promise you, there are so many different types of recovery meetings in there. You can and will find one that works for you. They have faith-based ones. They have those for people who don't believe in God or agnostic, atheists. They have Overeaters Anonymous. They have Marijuana Anonymous. They have the traditional 12 steps. They have everything. So just go through the list and see and try different meetings. Don't just try one or two and say, oh, no, it's not for me. Definitely try a different, like at least try 5 to 10 different ones and see which one you vibe with, which one helps you the most. And then just start attending on a regular basis so you can start building your support system, because that is what you need in recovery. Okay. If you're struggling with addiction, fellowship is key. Fellowship, connection is how I was able to get into recovery and stay sober. Another one that I want to point out is MARA, M-A-R-A, Medicated Assisted Recovery Anonymous. This is a fairly new meeting, and it's for those who have to take medications during their recovery. Examples like Suboxone, Methadone, Subutex, buprenorphine, naloxone, naltrexone, those types of medications. And MARA is one of my favorite meetings. I actually facilitate Mondays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Central. Would love to have you there. Go to mara-international.org and you can check out the meeting schedule, and all the Zoom links are on there. So intherooms.org, mara-international.org. Check those out. And you guys, You can do this. I promise. I know it seems like it's hopeless. Why even try? I know, because I've been there. I didn't think I could get sober for one day, let alone 6 years. Okay. But I promise you, there is hope. Recovery is possible, and recovery is beautiful. It's not perfect. Doesn't mean your problems are all going to go away, but it means that you're going to be able to cope in healthy ways rather than using drugs and alcohol or whatever else. You'll be able to cope in healthy ways and have a support system to back you up. All right, my friend. Thank you so much for listening and being part of this. Share this out. Follow me on YouTube, Thriving in Recovery with Christine H. Moore. I also have a Patreon channel, Thriving in Recovery. It's on my link tree in my bio. We're going to be starting a book study this coming Monday called Rewired. This book is one of the best recovery books I've ever read. I'm excited to dive deep into this with you guys. And there's more to come, so definitely check it out. Hey, Erica, how are you? And yeah, that's it for right now. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to come back in a little bit and talk about a different issue, but I'm going to go get my son some lunch. And hopefully we have water. Gosh, I'm so tired of being without water. All right, you guys. Love you. And I'll see you on the next live. Bye for now. Your stream was